I don't know, man. I really think that almost anything could happen in this best of 5, and that's what makes it such a fun one. In the bottom right side, we're looking at the main base of our Canadian Zerg player representing the Shopify Rebellion. This is Skarlet.
And it will be on Pride of Altaris as well. Maybe the first time we've seen it this week, which is kind of surprising. But spawning her in the top left, representing Dragon Phoenix Gaming, it is Zest.
I just have a smile on my face when I'm getting ready for this best of 5 because I just don't know. Skarlet looked so damn good in Group A, winning that group while Trap was in it, Cure was in it, the most recent GSL Code as champion. But when you go up against Zest, I feel like anything is on the board, anything is fair play, and apparently even taking your first hatchery at the gold. For the people who haven't seen a whole lot of StarCraft lately, this gold is unique because most golds have 6 mineral patches. This one has 8. So Skarlet is going to get an insane boost to her economy early on. It obviously does mean that it's going to be a little bit harder to keep all your drones safe because that gold is quite far away from the Zerg main base.
Yeah, it is really far, but like the normal gold, if you think about the mineral patches and how they work, normally there's 8 blue ones and there's 6 gold ones. It means that even if you have it fully saturated, they're kind of close. This gold one, though, absolutely amazing. Zest will get, I think he got the scout. Yes, he certainly did.
I hope that Skarlet had plenty of practice with this, because I'm sure that Zest has already faced it a couple of times, especially in the million online tournaments that he plays in. If I think of online tournaments, I think of someone like Bly as well, and I'm sure that Bly has tried to pull off a couple of cool, unique gold builds already. This is just going to be a best of 5 that I think can be all over the place. What we do know is that Zest is the last remaining Protoss in this tournament, so even, I don't want to say in the closing moments of his current career, because we never really know what happens by the time he comes back, but even right now, Zest is still doing all the Protoss boys out there proud. I think that's pretty cool to see.
No, it's super cool to see. And you know, a lot of people, when they're kind of like, oh, they're going to go away, and it's you don't know what's going to happen afterwards, but it really felt like he rise to the occasion, just playing in absolutely everything, and he's kind of the best he's ever been. And, you know, we can't count out Skarlet, man. Like, she's actually done pretty damn well in season finals. Like, she's defeated Trap twice to get out of the groups, defeating Lambo last time as well, defeating Cure this time. If you said that Skarlet was a threat to anybody, this is absolutely that moment in time.
Yep. I mean, I feel like Zest is truly trying to go out with a bang, and what better way to do it is by maybe winning the last of the 2021 DreamHack Masters season finals, but it's obviously a long way to go until we get there, especially since the winner of this series will face the winner of Rogue versus Serral. That's going to be very difficult too. We do have the Stargate opening here for Zest, and we've got our first Void Ray on the way. Void Rays, Void Rays, and Void Rays. That is what you can absolutely expect coming out of this man for this series. But the fun thing is that even though Zest opens up double Stargate Void Ray +1 air weapons very frequently, there are so many ways he can take it afterwards, right? He is not afraid to go into carriers. He's not afraid to hit you with a little War Prism and a couple of Zealots and Archons. There are multiple timings out there, and it can be a bit difficult for the Zerg to sniff it out. Of course, Void Rays can't always be in the right place to prevent every Overseer from making it into the main, but it's really important for Skarlet that a couple of minutes from now, she gets a good idea of what the follow-up of Zest is going to be. And I'm actually already surprised to see this ban, Void Ray into Oracle.
Yeah, I mean, the Oracle's really nice for being defensive because he is going for a pretty early third with this as well. Better at killing the Lings and stuff, but yeah, a little bit surprised. But if of all openings that Zest could do, I think he's the scariest with his Void Ray ones.
I've seen a couple of PVZs on this map, and Raynor actually had a very cool Queen walk where he sent a drone towards the center of the map, cancelled it, dropped the Creep Tumor, and actually got Queens to the other side of the map like before the 5-minute mark pretty much. They showed up super quick. I've also seen Rogue do a Queen walk on this one as well, and there's a good chance that Skarlet is going to do something along those lines. Since the gold is out there in the middle anyway, you can start getting creep forward very, very quickly. This has to be something that Zest is already thinking of, especially if he just took a quick look even at the games that Skarlet had against Trap as well.
Look at that group of Queens around that base, like really, really defending it properly well here is Skarlet. Can we have a little look at the income graph as well so far? Because that gold base, yeah, it really comes into fruition very quickly. But Zest, not really missing a beat on his side of the map. Did lose a pylon, but killed quite a group of Lings as well.
That pylon is important though, because if I think of ways that we're going to hold potentially a lot of Queens and Roaches running to the other side of the map, obviously static defenses are very, very important. And you cannot really overdo it on batteries and cannons. Zest lets this Shade finish up, despite the fact that he saw 5 Queens there and a couple of Zerglings. Doesn't get a whole lot done with those two.
No, and that stasis trap there could have got one drone, did get one drone. Skarlet droning up crazily behind this, but I don't dislike it in a position. That is a stasis and a half, though.
Yep, that's a good one. That's going to slow her economy down a little bit. Zest has added extra Stargates, and that Fleet Beacon is very close to finishing up as well. So maybe we'll see 2 to 4 carriers back into ground. Maybe Zest goes all out on the carrier memes. It's whoa! I actually think he's reading this as aggression. Tempests are very good. If you know that the Queen Walk is coming, you can get 3-4 Tempests out quickly. Then you can always go back into Void Rays or carriers. But I actually think that Zest is right now anticipating aggression that's not coming.
No, at least not yet, or for the foreseeable future. I mean,
getting a amount of drones.
Yeah, I mean, Skarlet's droning up like a mad woman right now, and I like this. Wow, going for that upgrade as well so quickly. I mean, kind of crazy play, but I don't hate it, but I don't think it's going to be super favorable for him.
No, I guess as long as these rocks are up, like I'm taking a look at these rocks exactly, and maybe that's why the Oracle is hovering above it. Because you can maybe put Tempest here on the high ground, and then you can start gunning down that hatchery potentially, especially with the upgrade that I think got cancelled, right? Because it doesn't finish up all that quickly. I was like, maybe says, oh, what?
Wow, cancelled it and redid it again?
Yeah, okay.
Only to Chrono Boost afterwards as well. But you're right, Kev. Those rocks there are a pretty pivotal point. I haven't seen the situation a hell of a lot. I mean, I haven't seen the Tempest go to in this kind of situation. But yeah, getting behind those rocks, those Tempests, they kind of reign supreme.
Yep. No, I don't think that Skarlet is ever going to kill Zest with a move out, but what he could potentially do is deal a lot of damage, get herself ahead, and then obviously you have to get ready for the follow-up, and that's why we already see the Spire go down. I'm actually pretty happy to see it, and that's also a Spire that I think is going to be pretty difficult for Zest to scout. And you don't want to end up in a situation where you've got 3-4 Tempest, 8-9 Void Rays, but then suddenly 14 Mullers show up. Good revelation there on all the Queens. This is where the Tempests really need to go out and about, but they actually want to go for the hatchery first, but this obviously means they're not helping out defensively either. Skarlet is going to send a couple of Queens back. This is actually pretty cool, but Zest really needs to be very careful. That is a ridiculous amount of Queens, by the way.
It really is. The +1 on the Tempest is really strong as well for one-shotting these Queens. It's a respectable number of Ravagers for sure, and the Ravagers, the bios have to be good, but nice positioning by Zest overall. And gonna lose a Void Ray for free. That's not what you want.
No, that Void Ray was not part of the groupings. I think Zest is busy trying to micro his Tempest, but he's taking a lot of damage on the second Void Ray as well. At least we're gonna keep that one alive. The Tempest will take care of this hatch, but it's all taking a lot longer because he cancelled the upgrade to begin with. I do not believe that a couple of cannons and a couple of batteries are gonna be enough here for Zest. What Zest will have, though, is the ability to clean this up, but the first Corruptors are even on the way already.
Kevin, he's still going in with these Tempests, and I mean, they can obviously take out bases a lot faster with that upgrade, but I don't like this for him at all. Like, I really don't. I think Skarlet, what she's doing right now, taking down the Void Rays as well. She's looking great this first game.
Another Void Ray falls. Now we recall the Tempest towards the third, but it could be a day late and $1 short, as 2 more Void Rays go down to Corrosive Ball. And I don't really know if Zest is going to have enough to clean this up. And even by the time he does clean it up, he's going to lose that Nexus most likely. The Corruptors will start showing up as well. Zest has just lost a few more Void Rays than he's supposed to lose against the Ravages and even a bit against the Queens, I guess.
I'm even scared about that Tempest at the top. Okay, he does move it back just in the nick of time here. And Skarlet, she can't really truly retreat from the situation. And Zest does have a lot of minerals, so maybe he can double expand after this, but Corruptors are here now. And I mean, those Tempests aren't what you really want against those, but this is just a gnarly start to the series for the Protoss.
Couple of extra Void Rays showing up, but 1 or 2 shield batteries would be very, very useful here for Zest. Unfortunately, he has lost the static defenses he had in his natural too. 28 workers have already gone down, and Zest's worker count is really starting to look very sad at this point. Only 35 probes. So even if Zest holds 35 probes going down while being knocked back to being a 2-base Protoss, that cannot be enough to be like, oh yeah, I'm okay with this position.
No, definitely not. Even more units falling for him. And Skarlet behind all this, I just saw 15 drones fire up during this, and I love that decision because she knows she has nothing to worry about at this point.
Nope, Skarlet looking mighty fine here in the first game. Losing that goal does sting a little bit, but she's going to be able to get plenty of Corruptors out. I mean, Skarlet's economy at this point is almost 3 times as good as the economy of Zest, and that means that for every Void Ray that comes out, we can make 2, 3, 4 extra Corruptors. And I don't think Skarlet really has to worry about anything else other than just holding that Corruptor button down.
No, and look at that map as well. The vision for Skarlet, like, The world is truly our oyster, and Zest, he's going to move out with what he has, and it's a scary little squad for sure, but how many Corruptors are going to be on the field here? And the Queens have been getting remade as well. Oh, she still has to respect it, I suppose.
Yep. It's still something to worry about a little bit. At this point, there are 12 Corruptors, but +1 Carapace is almost done for the Corruptors as well. It's going to make them a little bit more tanky. Scarlet basically only has one job left, and that is clean up this army. That's not going to be easy, but with the Queens helping out, Scarlet needs to perhaps be a bit more decisive. When with each second that goes by, obviously, he should be able to get further and further ahead.
I love how Zest is microing this, though. Just make sure that the Void Rays don't overcommit, and the Corruptors are starting to pile in here, but the Void Ray count is gone. The Prismatic Alignment no longer available. One Void Ray does show up from north, but I think this is it. Zest. Wow, what a start to the series between these two.
Yep, Zest is just running out of steam here. He cannot keep up with the production of Scarlet after losing that many workers and losing a base as well. Scarlet takes the 1-0 lead on a game that was played on the Korean server as well. So in a weird way, that's almost a double victory for her. Amazing start. Gotta say, Zest felt a little bit indecisive what he wanted to do with the Tempest. Cancelling the upgrade as well, because if he would have never cancelled it, he would have taken out the gold a lot quicker. Then he could have recalled, and I don't think he would have lost as many Void Rays initially as he ended up losing. And if you see how, in a weird way, that got somewhat close towards the end, imagine if Zest had 4 extra Void Rays there.
Yeah, or just those Tempests recalled immediately, you know? I don't know what his energy situation was on the Nexus, and it was like, oh, I can't actually recall, but yeah, you're totally right. Killed that base way too slowly. Because, yeah, if you have those 5 Tempests alive at home, that push doesn't do what it did at all, I think.
But the thing is, they were in range of the Queens as well in the center, and they were on the high ground, so it was like, I actually think you can get a lot of nice shots off there. Now, it obviously takes a little while to take out Queens, but it felt like there was serious potential for those Tempests to shine. At this point, Zestus had a few too many minerals as well. Imagine if you do have 4 or 5 extra cannons and 3 extra batteries. That really is going to give you that extra bit of time you need as a defender Protoss here to get a few extra Void Rays out and just clean everything up a little bit quicker.
Indecisive, Kev. Like, that is truly the word that we can say, because, yeah, you're totally right. You got a revelation on those Queens in the middle. He kind of knew what was coming, and he almost overvalued how good the gold base was for Scarlet in that position, because he's like, I have to... He almost put everything into it, right? Like, I have to get rid of this gold, otherwise I'm dead kind of thing, and it felt like dealing with that army in the middle would have been so much better for him. Like, I really think that.
Yeah, or maybe just go for the gold immediately, but then do recall, then get those extra cannons at least on the high ground. So yeah, you might lose your 3rd base, but if you only lose the 3rd and let's say 10 probes that are being picked off while you transfer them back into your natural, then it's also still not that bad. But at the moment you're a 2-base Protoss and you're like 28 workers, yeah, then you can't even use all 3 Stargates anymore at once.
No, we'll be Hardwire next, which is Zest pick. And you've also got to wonder, like, how often do Protoss players like Zest run into a gold base first? Because, I mean, It is common on that map, but how often do we really see that map?
Yep, it also felt that maybe Zest was hoping that Scarlet would have done the Queen Walk of a slightly worse economy.
Yeah,
it's like
way early.
Not ultra early, but like kind of in the middle. But this time Scarlet went basically up to 66 drones, 17 Queens. And it felt as Zest like, is it coming? Yes, no, yes, no. And by the time he really figured out it was coming, he wasn't quite sure what he wanted to do anymore. And let's not forget about the original Void Ray that was separated from the rest of the pack, that just kind of died by itself. I mean, in these quote-unquote all-in scenarios, every unit is very important, and you can't lose a Void Ray like that.
No, you absolutely can't. We're getting into it. Second map will be Hardwire, and spawning over in the top right, as our Red Zerg, it is Scarlet.
Got close to making the semifinals 2 seasons ago when she took a 2-0 lead over Innovation. Back then she wasn't able to go all the way. Perhaps this is her day. In the bottom left side though, we've got the last Protoss remaining in the DreamHack Masters Season Finals 2021. Representing Dragon Phoenix Gaming, it is Zest.
You obviously play this matchup a lot more than I do. How do you feel about this new map pool when it comes to this matchup in particular?
I think it can force a lot of very late game scenarios. I mean, Void Rays and Batteries are already good, but since the maps are big, and in general works in favor of the player that wants to force late game. Now, I don't know if Zest is necessarily someone that embraces the ultra late game, like the split map scenarios, we both get 8 bases and you're gonna get 40 Spore Crawlers, Infestors and Vipers. I feel that Scarlet has quite a bit of practice in those scenarios, thinking of all her epic series against Neep throughout the years.
Absolutely. If there's one thing that really comes into my mind about Zest late game when he plays against Zergs that are really damn good, I always think about those mothership run-bys and then getting into the main with a whole bunch of carriers, disruptors, and things like that. I mean, he has his own take on it as well, but I don't necessarily class him as a late-game specialist. But here, maybe he has to change up his game plan against Skarlet.
Yeah, it is going to be very hard for Skarlet to get a similar victory, though. This time there is no gold base with 8 mineral patches, so if you want to make the same attack, instead of 17 queens, you're going to have 12 or 13, and that does make a pretty big difference.
Oh, it definitely does, definitely does. Very ordinary openings here from both of them. Zest going for the early hatch block, does get it. Skarlet just takes the third as her natural, and yeah, standard PvZ opener here.
You know what is very exciting, if we just get a bit ahead of ourselves and think of Skarlet making it to the semifinals, is he will face a Zerg player there. And I don't really care what year it is. Skarlet in a ZVZ, I will always believe that he can get the job done. Even when Serral was absolutely invincible, there was one player that kept pushing him to his limits and actually should have won 2 series in that year. That could have prevented Serral winning every WCS tourney in 2018. And that was Skarlet in Valencia and in Montreal. She really had the games in her back and she could have potentially done it. Once more, even if it's 3 years into the future, Skarlet in a best of 5 in a big tournament, ZVZ, I will always believe that she can get the job done.
Kevin, we have a Stalker here along with a Robo facility. Now, this isn't an opening you see every day. The kind of openings and things that can follow up behind this, what you're thinking is going to be Zest's game plan. Could it be like one of those 2-base all-in kind of situations? I mean, it's going to be rough. It's going to be rough. Or maybe just
adapts or DTs, and you take a look at the gases in the main. They are fully saturated, so it could just be a Dark Shrine opening here. I'm not exactly sure where Zest is going to go with it, but definitely a bit confusing to see the Robo that quickly.
Yeah, because normally if you go for the DTs, don't you normally get like the Twilight first and such? But we'll be going for this Warp Prism here. We'll have to reveal it fairly quickly if he wants to deal with that Overlord at his natural.
Like, there are obviously some robotics facility openings with a Robo Bay as a follow-up, but we haven't seen a Robo Bay yet either, so it's going to be a Dark Shrine.
Yeah, a bit of an unusual way about going about things, but Zest, I mean, far better with Protoss than I'll ever be, so I won't knock it, but he really has to whip out his best of the best going up against a Skarlet that she's looking damn strong at these season finals, man. Like, already taken down Trap and Cure.
I almost feel that Zest wants to sell it as an Adept opening, but then it's the Dark Templar opening. He's like, oh, here's my Prism. Already have an Adept in the wall off. We have a Roach Warren being built, not a single Spore Crawler yet. Dark Shrine is halfway done. I cannot imagine that Skarlet won't get a single Spore. There goes the Lair, but it's going to take a little while before that thing is up, and there is our first Spore Crawler too.
He did wait until he killed that Overlord to pop down his 3rd and 4th gas at the natural, so maybe a bit of lack of knowing exactly what's going on for Skarlet, but she's making Spore, so she's definitely knowing that something's up. Maybe a late Stargate. Seeing this random 3 Stalker squad here is very unusual, but...
Gotta be confusing. We've got a Spore Crawler in the natural, Spore Crawler at the 3rd base. There is no Spore Crawler in the main, and this Warp Prism is awfully close towards the main base. But Zest doesn't...
What an interesting way of going about things. Like,
I feel like Zest wants to take a very big risk. Okay, he's gonna send DTs into every single base, and he's gonna drop them in main, but there's detection there. There is detection at the 3rd. The only place that has no detection... Well, if the Dark Templar actually finds some success at the 3rd base, that's pretty big for Zest.
I mean, this base as well, totally open here, and I don't know if a Spore Crawler's moving over there. I don't know what happened to the DT
Overseer.
outside the natural as well.
We are going to morph an Overseer, but obviously that always takes a little bit. It's already a successful opening for Zest. It's not necessarily all the damage he's dealing. 6 drones is decent, but losing 2 Dark Templars is a bit painful. That's a lot of lost mining time as well on the side of Skarlet.
I gotta say, Zest handled that pretty damn well. Like, a worse Protoss could have stayed around for a long time, making a few Archons as well. Wow. You know, I haven't seen this kind of stuff in quite a while in this matchup.
I was like, why are we making more DTs if we already still have 1 DT out there? But the DT is just there to keep the creep in check, and that's actually kind of cool as well. Warp Prism flies into main base. These Archons are getting right on top of the Queens and kill the Overseer too. This is actually a moment where you could maybe decide to warp in a few more Dark Templars. It'd be a crazy move. But that Spore wasn't done yet. Imagine if you would have done that immediately.
Yeah, and I mean, Skarlet, she kind of was worried about it, making another Overseer. What's happening? Where's the rest of her army? These Archons are just going reigning supreme here.
I have rarely seen 2 Archons be this devastating. In Zerg main base, there are so many drones there, but the Spore Crawl is kind of keeping those drones safe. Says you don't want to lose an Archon here, and he does not lose an Archon, but man, this other Archon is an absolute believer. Zest just knows that there isn't too much anti-air to worry about anymore. What a successful follow-up.
Yeah, really cool by him. It just felt like Skarlet had nothing, right? And now she's super supply blocked as well, so can't make anything either. That DT comes back over here and chopping out some drones. It's going from bad to worse.
A night and day difference between Game 1 and Game 2 here. And this game is played on the American server, which just goes to show that ping is obviously very important in StarCraft, but it's not necessarily everything. Zest hasn't won it yet, but jeez Louise, is Skarlet in a bit of trouble here.
Yeah, I can't believe how much lost mining has been done this game by Zest. And look at that, going for some juicy drone kills there. The Archon getting a bit carried away, but does get out of there. And obviously they regen when they're not taking damage. And having that Warp Prism in the back of your base, nothing you can do about it.
Yep. Meanwhile, at home, Zest's macro is clean. There is an Immortal on the way. There are more Archons on the way. +1 is done. I wouldn't have hated to see him fire up +2. There you go. Actually, well, Zest is just a man to my heart, isn't he?
Not missing a beat so far in this game. Totally different player almost showing up here. And
this is real clean, man.
I mean, look at that. 2.5k against like the 700. That's a great start for the Korean. And he's feeling like moving out as well. I don't ever think it's a bad play here.
Nope. Now Skarlet is going to get a couple of Ravages, and Ravages are very powerful defensively on creep, but Skarlet even lost some Overlords and Overseers, because he was a supply block there as well for a split second. I have the feeling that Zest is just going to go for it, because the Ravages are not quite ready yet. Zest is going to run into the natural. I wouldn't have hated to see him split off 2 or 3 Zealots immediately into the main base, but this could very well be a game-ending attack.
Oh my goodness, he's handling this very well, but Skarlet finally getting all the units in. 2 Immortals down. In fact, no, he just saved one in the nick of time there. Skarlet getting a nice wrap around. The Zealots in the top really not buffering for this army, and all of a sudden, all the Immortals are gone.
Yeah, I gotta say, Zest derped a little bit there. I feel like he accidentally picked up units, and that's why he couldn't pick up the other units, the Immortals that were being targeted by those corrosive balls. Zest was getting a bit too carried away there. He's gonna lose the Prism. It's so close. Oh my goodness, it survives with literally 1 HP, man.
I saw you literally hop off your chair there. There was a Quill in midair there. It was going to get the kill. Didn't quite get it. And Skarlet, she's had enough of this. She does have a little bit of a supply lead here. And I mean, it's a lot of Roaches and Ravages.
There are Overseers on the way, but I don't see them here yet. So even a single DT. There's going to be Zealots coming in from the top. I mean, Skarlet has to imagine that Zest always has a bit of money behind that. Those Zealots are going to go to town, man. I don't think that this is an attack that can get really a whole lot done. Skarlet's even sending the Queens to the other side of the map. And now all the Ravages are left by themselves. And Zest is still going to clean this up without too many issues.
My goodness, he basically won on both sides there. Like, Skarlet was a good 20-30 supply ahead. He still has to be careful. Like, he shouldn't probe at all at this point, I feel, because Skarlet very obviously all in with this. But Zest, whereabouts is he going?
We're about to have +2 as well, though, on the Zealot. Yeah, Zest, I think Zest expected Skarlet to go back, but Skarlet ain't going back. Skarlet is sending everything that he has to the other side of the map. Empowering 2 gateways is nice. Sometimes Zest can make life so complicated on himself, because this is an army he could easily clean up. Instead, he's like, no, I'm going to fight on the other side of the map. I'm going to get on top of your reinforcements, but it does open the door on his side of the map for everything to be wide open, and now it's actually still going to get pretty close.
I think obviously it's a big advantage for Zest in this situation. He is ahead in supply, is Roach Ravager, but look, he's going to absolutely slaughter the economy of Skarlet, and he can still warp in back at home. He's actually got a decent bank as well to do it.
I love the way that he split up Zealots there as well. Zealots into the main immediately, a couple Zealots into the third. The rest of the armors in the natural. Zest gets the job done. I honestly think in very typical Zest fashion, where for 8.5 minutes, he looks like the best player to ever touch StarCraft 2. And then for 30 seconds, he's like, just kidding, guys, I'm human, I make a lot of mistakes too. And then he loses 3 Immortals, the Prism wasn't really doing anything there. Imagine if that Prism would have gone down as well with that extra Archon inside of it. The hold at home actually becomes pretty dicey.
It actually does, and it stops all the counterattack potential, but those Zealots that started taking out the reinforcements
that
there.
Was cool.
Yeah, I mean, that really kept him in, absolutely. And I mean, he was in a better situation, but even the early opening with all the DTs, like turning 2 of them into, or 4 of them into 2 Archons there, having the DT go to the third and yet again, and just, it was a very difficult situation for Skarlet to handle.
It's the most Zest game ever, where he can just look godlike for so long. And then the fight that was supposed to be an easy fight, I feel like he accidentally picked up units in the Prism, and that's why he couldn't pick up the 2 Immortals that were clearly going to get targeted down by corrosive balls. And I think that Zest didn't realize that his Prism was full, but he was able to get away with that mistake since he got himself so far ahead that this Arc, look at the Prism, it's carrying stuff and now it couldn't pick up those Immortals.
No, yeah, I mean, I really thought that second Immortal died there, but all the Zealots in the top, they are chasing the drones, so they are getting a lot of damage done, but yeah, I mean, those bios connected.
Even in the end there, it's like, where's that Prism going? Because all the Queens were on the right side, so that Prism really didn't have to go that far towards the left, but in the end, it was all good for the last remaining Protoss here at the DreamHack Master Winter Season Finals. Kind of what we expected, Ben. Like, it could have been a trio Skarlet, could have been a trio Zest. We know that they are capable of just making games weird, and they shine in different moments. And yeah, 2 games into the series, I guess I still have no idea how this is actually gonna go.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, Zest played not... It was weird decision making right in the first game, but that was on his Korean server. Yeah. Here, he looked like he was on the Korean server again, but it was on the NA server. I'm very curious about how both of them are going to handle it. So I was actually very confident in Zest Stargate openings going up against Skarlet, but the fact that that went as it did, and here he just whips out this kind of funky build, actually.
Yeah, but it was a bit different, right? Like, if you speak about confidence in Zest's Stargate openers, I think we're both thinking of all the holds that he has had.
Right.
Void Rays, batteries, cannons, and he's just very good in picking off units when he needs the most. But it's so different on Pride of Alterace with that gold, with the 10 mineral patches. And maybe that's why Zest felt that he was forced to play different, went for the Tempest. Like, I don't think we can really look at that game and be like, oh, Zest, you normally does that better, because it was just a unique scenario.
I mean, it absolutely was. And the fact that he went for Tempest as well, like he did, you know, I don't often see Tempest. In fact, nearly every time I see somebody go for Tempest kind of early, I always see them lose, but it is because everything was gearing up to him expecting something that didn't quite come. And then when it did come, he was like, I didn't expect that right here, like, at all.
Berlingrad is going to be the next map, obviously a much smaller map than the previous 2 that we've seen. It's a map where maybe we'll see some adapts with Resonating Glaives, but I actually really expect to see double Stargate here. And I think this time Zest will be willing to embrace any Queen Walk, any Roach Walk that comes his way. If he does do the double Stargate, Void Ray +1 air weapons, I think we can really see what he's made of and what he has been showing us in probably 25 different tournaments in the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, 25, maybe 50, you know, like, he's been playing absolutely everything.
He's putting Bly to shame, man. Like, Bly has felt lazy for the first time in his life.
Yeah, actually, yeah. Now Bly's actually got competition, and Zest was like, oh, you've played the most tournament games in esports? No, hold the phone. Let's see if I can do it in the year and catch you up.
I can catch up in 3 months. We're like, no, you can't, Zest. He's like, hold my beer, hold my soju, and here he is, Manny. In the top left side of Berlingrad, we're looking at the main base of the man who has just been grinding 24/7 lately. Truly an inspiration to everyone out there. Representing Dragon Phoenix Gaming, it is Zest.
And spawning over in the bottom right, as our Red Zerg, and yet again, representing Shopify Rebellion, it is Skarlet.
Speaking of the Shopify Rebellion, well, technically the Rebellion doesn't have to do a whole lot with it, but I know I teased it yesterday, guys. I got some of you guys hyped up for the Reyna Signature Series. Today we are actually going to show it. I do believe it will happen once all 4 best of 5s are done. But yeah, if you guys have no idea what those are on about, please stick around as soon as the final game is over, because that is a death segment you absolutely want to see. I'm hyped for it. I absolutely love the Clem Signature Series that came out a couple days ago. It's very wholesome to see how passionate he is and how supportive his dad is as well. I'm really looking forward to the one of Reyna too.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Reyna, he's a cheeky lad, you know. He's been with us now for a long time, even though it almost doesn't feel like it, right? Like seeing that young little lad turn up at the DreamHack, you know, he was but a boy, but absolutely turning into a man that we all get along with very well. His interviews are amazing. Just a fine young lad. Totally opposite to Clem as well, by the way.
Yeah, but they're actually super good friends as well. I mean, you know.
They're super nice lads, yeah.
They just banter a lot, and then sometimes that can translate weird if you only see the text, and you're like, oh, wow, they're really aggressive, but they're super good buddies, and even though they are big rivals, and it's kind of funny as well, because they're basically fighting over a lot of prize money in some of these tournaments, but still on really good terms with one another. That's cool. But we'll talk more about those little youngsters later. Obviously, Clem will be shown again tomorrow. Can't wait for that. And TVT against Maru, he's got his work cut out for him. But for now, all eyes on Skarlet and Zest.
Yeah, he won't be going up against Rogue or Serral. Oh man, that was such a blunder earlier, but these things happen, Kev. We've been here for a while now. And Dad Brain kicked in good and proper. Stargate will be the tech of choice for Zest over here.
They have a little more to some of us than others. Just kidding, man.
These moments happen, Kev. These moments happen.
They
That brain
do.
is a real thing, you know. I've been recovering. 9 months it's
You're
been
just
now.
getting ready for that TVZ finals because you don't even take the Protoss serious. I get it, man.
You got to take Zest serious, though. Although Trap going out, like, whoa. I mean, I was really impressed with how Clem played that series, though. He really did look damn good. But
Hey, it's actually not even possible to have a PVZ Grand Finals.
it's no.
That's pretty cool.
At best, PVT, Kev.
Yeah, I mean, PVT is an awesome matchup, and I don't think PVZ is bad, but if I think back of the Grand Finals was last season, sure, if you are wearing your Cerro hat or your Ents hoodie, you probably love the hell out of that, but I have to admit that I always hope for just slightly closer games, and I don't mind Yona winning. For my part, he wins everything, but I want to see him sweat a little bit. I want to see him be pushed to the limit. Last season, it almost felt a bit too easy. I don't think it's going to be the same this time around. As Zest has his first two adepts shading to the other side of the map. First drone, second drone, and both adepts are still relatively healthy. It's a great start for our Korean Protoss.
It really is, because you almost expect maybe to get 2 or 3 drones with the Adepts while losing them. So the fact they're still alive, really good start for the Korean. And we got to mention as well, like, the Koreans so far, I don't think they've won a season finals. Or at least, like, you know, Serral's been holding down the fort really well, along with Reina. Now we've got Clem finally in the semi-finals as well. Yeah, the Koreans, they almost, I don't want to say it, but they kind of need to step up when it comes here. But Zest so far, 5 drones to start things off. Very good start.
And it's funny as well, because last year during Aces ROG, the Koreans were still dominant. And then this year during Aces ROG, the Koreans were dominant again. And we really use the same rules. And the time zone, if anything, the time zones are friendlier here for the Koreans than they are during Aces ROG, because that tournament goes on for a ridiculously long time, each and every single day. And both of them are EPT tournaments, so they use the same seeding, the same server advantages, disadvantages. So it really is just a bit of random. Let's see if the Koreans can turn the tide and perhaps pick up their first season finals. So far, though, I gotta say, Zest is looking clean here on Berlingrad, Ben. It's been a couple of little skirmishes, but 5 drones without losing a single unit. You gotta be happy with that as a Protoss.
And it is that 2 Stargate opening here with the Fleet Beacon and
More drones.
more drones. Where are the Oracles? Over here, just denying what he can. What's the health on these bad boys? Still? I mean, they are damaged, obviously, but they're still alive, and that's the big thing.
Scarlet is actually making quite a few roaches already. Now Zest has been banking up a decent number of adepts, and maybe this is just the right amount of roaches. But I'm a bit concerned about for Zest here, though, is that if he loses these adepts too quickly, that will just open the door for Scarlet to send everything else to the other side of the map. Because for a man who has 2 Stargates on the way, he hasn't done anything yet. Do you think he's waiting for carriers? He must almost build Tempest here, again, whether he likes it or not. Because I don't know if 2 Void Rays are ever going to make the difference.
I think he's going to go into Tempest here. Like,
You need it.
yeah, seeing this, and I think it is the right call. The Forge, only halfway done as well. He wants to be piling out a lot of static defense right now because he knows what's coming. This isn't a fakie, and he's all right in supply, but Scarlet, she's going pedal to the metal here. But Queen's already at his front door. I think he should almost make all the static defense as natural, right?
Yeah. Don't even dream about defending the third phase. But I don't think that Scarlet even wants to just settle for the third. Scarlet wants a whole lot more. Scarlet wants to go for all of it, so he's gonna try to rake in. There are a couple of batteries finishing up. These adepts, they have bought time, they have pulled units out of position, so I don't hate it what Zest is doing. Those batteries are right next to each other, that they can heal each other up a little bit. We need to make sure that we use battery overcharge at a good moment here, Zest. And he needs these cannons. That's a 1 pylon, by the way. Imagine if that pylon goes down.
I mean, it could be really bad. He is making a lot of static with this. 3 batteries on the way, cannons on the way. He made the absolute right call here, though, going for bunkering up at this natural, that third base.
Yeah.
The Zerglings are going ham, but there's not a lot to kill there. These Tempests, maybe the transfusions are finally wearing out here. It does look like it, but still, a lot of Zerg needs to go down.
A couple of extra cannons are finishing up in the back. That's very smart. Those Oracles are still alive too. They don't have too much energy. Scarlet gets the Nexus, but there are adepts on the other side of the map getting on top of the drones. Brilliant call there by Zest, and all he really needs to do is hold, and he will hold. Now, if I'm Scarlet, maybe I send a couple of these Zerglings into the main base, because there are too many batteries here that I don't think you can get a whole lot done. That second overcharge should be ready right about now. Doesn't take very long, Ben.
By the way, I love the Adept play, man. The Adept play, wow, what a... Actually, that was a masterclass for Zest, because I thought he was in a lot of trouble. So the fact that, first of all, he sends the Adepts across the map, realizing Roach, Ravager, Queen, they're not going to do much.
Yeah.
All the Lings come back home. Then he recalls immediately, so decisive. Then the Adepts come back home. They're like, okay, we still can't do much. Let's go back again. Let's sneak into that third base. Make sure I cut the head off the snake. Great play by him.
Yeah, honestly, made it almost look easy, and it's definitely not easy. I was a bit worried that those two batteries were right next to each other. It was only a single pylon, but in the end, Zest got enough cannons up. And I also like that he went for the second line of static defenses, because the front often does get broken, but then when the links do get through, you still have some batteries there, you still have some cannons there. A beautiful game by Zest, which does mean it's time to head back into the American server, so that's going to favor Scarlet a little bit, and we'll do that in 3 minutes after this quick commercial break. We'll see you soon for Game 4. Welcome back to the third quarterfinals of the day, where the score is 2-1 in favor of Zest. So we're getting ready to hop into 2K atmosphere. Benny, what would you like to see different from Scarlet?
I think maybe the early defense against like the Adepts and the Oracles, like maybe it just needs to be cleaned up a little bit, because this kind of thing, I don't normally see it happen in the way that it did here. Because yeah, she kind of skipped spores and things like that, but still, that amount of damage being done before you do this, like, was this her plan right from the get-go, or did she resort to this because of the early game damage? I'm not sure, but yeah, I think cleaning up that early game a little bit just so she can thrive, that'll help her a ton in this series.
Yeah, or maybe because he knew that Zest was banking up a couple of Adepts, he's like, well, I'm going to be forced to make units anyway, and may as well try to get lucky and send everything to the other side of the map, but perhaps not quite expecting the Tempest to already be ready. Those shield batteries, Zest obviously not being stubborn either. I gotta say, that was a sick call by Zest. We knew it was the right one, Zest knew it was the right one, but there are many different kinds of Queen Walks where sacrificing the third is actually not okay. And you do need to keep it alive. But that's of course different if they open up with 6 or 8 Void Rays rather than double Oracle. But that's not an easy call to make in the heat of the moment into the playoffs of a big tournament where it could be one of these where it's like, oh no, like if I just lose the Nexus, I'm already going to be pretty far behind. I'm going to try. But you can't be indecisive in these games, because if Zest would have tried to secure the third, he would have just lost more. He would have been even further behind. There's a good chance that he then takes some damage in the natural too. So really great call by this man.
Absolutely. Speaking of, spawning over the bottom left on 2K Atmosphere, it is Zest.
In the top right side, representing the Shopify Rebellion, we're looking at the main base of our Canadian Zerg player, Skarlet.
Yeah, but you're totally right. A lot of the calls that Zest made that game, it was like, we were like, okay, sacking the third, just making your static at the natural, he did that. Making the Tempest immediately as soon as that Fleet Beacon was done as well, he did that. And maybe, you know, because he kept the first 2 Adepts alive, maybe that was also like, well, I'll go up to like 7 or so, and I'll start actually dealing damage. Like the whole thing, it just lined up so nicely. And that was definitely one of the games where you're like, Zest, you play so damn good. Like, if he plays like that, it's actually so hard to beat him.
I don't think there's really anything that went wrong for Zest in Game 3. I just felt that pretty much everything was perfect from his side.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. And when you're dealing with a Zest like that, he's incredibly hard to beat. This game did start off with a little bit of a hatch blockers again from Zest, which, you know, players tend to like it a lot. I do think it is a damn good opening when it comes to Protoss versus Will get up his Nexus on the low ground, along with the gateway wall and such.
Isn't it funny how, in general, on average, a lot of people would still rate Trap a little bit higher than Zest at the moment. But when you see them go up against the foreign Zergs, and I'm not even talking about Raynor and Sero, I'm talking about, let's say, you know, 6 or 7 of the best foreign Zergs out there.
Lambos and the lasers and stuff.
Yeah, it always feels that Zest looks a lot better than Trap does.
Actually, yeah. I mean, just remember, Zest playing cross-server on Europe to qualify for that tournament on the European server, and he did it against Lambo. And it's like, you see Lambo go up against Trap, and you legit don't know who's going to win.
Yeah. And then you look at the record that a player like Lambo has as well against Trap, and it's not like a lucky victory.
No, he actually played him in the World Team League like weeks afterwards, and it was like, oh, Lambo's just kind of slaughtering him. Different styles, like...
That's what it is, really. It feels like Zest is just good against the Queen Walks, it's good against Queen Aggression, Queen Roach pushes, and there are obviously so many different ones. To put things in perspective, I took a look at Pride of Alteraise. Once the Queen started making their way up to the ramp, the other side of the map, I don't know if every single Queen was there, but Skarlet had 17 Queens on the map. Previous game, 7 Queens on the map during that attack. Like, that really just goes to show that it requires a completely different response, and they obviously hit at very different moments too.
Definitely, definitely. Yeah, when I think about Zest and Trap, I'm like, Zest is Iceman, dude. Like, when he actually plays well, it all lines up so damn decent. It's not... I feel that Trap isn't
Trap
like...
is Tom Cruise?
I can't really call him Maverick. He's more like the Viper, you know? Like the tried and true veteran of them all kind of thing, but...
You know a little more about Top Gun than I do. How many times have you seen this movie, man?
Way too much, man.
Yeah?
At least 10.
No, really?
At least, yeah. It's like...
I know we watched it together once in Germany.
Oh, we did? I made you watch it?
Yeah. We had a little dinner date. We watched Top Gun together. I can't believe you forgot. Wow. I was just another guy who you watched Top Gun with, huh?
I mean, I showed Alice it recently as well. It's like, babe, we have to watch Top Gun. It's the greatest love story of all time. She's like, that wasn't what I was expecting, Ben. And I was like, I know, but wasn't it beautiful? She's like, oh, it's okay. I'm like, God damn it, Alice. But yeah, I really think the way that Zest lines everything up, like the first 10 minutes, especially with all these holds, it's clean, man. Like Trap, I think he has the best Oracle control in the world. But when it comes to just knowing how to hold things and maybe how to bait things a little bit as well, Zest is just very good at it.
Skarlet does get that probe, so that's nice, but she's gonna pay a little price for it though. 3 Zerglings for a worker. Obviously a trade that a Zerg player will gladly make in this phase in the game, because there's not a whole lot those Zerglings can do besides this. There is already our second Stargate. I'm expecting a pretty quick +1 air weapons too. And this time I'm not expecting a very early Fleet Beacon. I actually think we're just gonna crank out Void Rays for a little while.
Absolutely. Flying right on into the main here. We'll get 3 drones for the Oracle's troubles.
Shouldn't that Oracle be in serious trouble? Well, I guess it is, but it's just gonna chill behind the main base of the Zerg.
I guess it's a nice spot to be in on this map. Like, you got 2 pretty open mineral lines where you can end up stasising if you do so please, and it allows you to keep on revelating those 2 bases as well.
I do like this by Zest. Zest is also pretty much always the kind of Protoss who's okay with taking damage on units that you want to keep healthy for that guaranteed damage. If he just knows I can kill a couple workers, but I can still keep this unit alive, he will always go for it. But there are some other Protoss out there that's like, yeah, I could kill a drone, maybe even 2, but I don't really think it's worth taking that much damage on my Oracle. But I do think it's very important as a Protoss to disrupt the flow of the Zerg economy early on. Because killing 10 drones when the Zerg has 4 bases and 80 workers, yeah, that's cool. That looks explosive. Doesn't do that much. Picking up those 3 drones actually does slow things down a little bit for Skarlet.
Yeah, and he was so fine-tuned with it as well. Like, I remember when he always would have this pylon on the outskirts of his main base. There'd always be an Oracle first, and he'd always send it in, regardless of what he saw. But here, double Void Ray production is starting, +1 air weapons on the way in that forge. Very, very early. So he's geared up to defend against anything if it was to crawl across the map.
We know that it's not really going to be the case. Skarlet is already going past 60 workers. There's an evolution chambers. He's going up to 4 bases. It is very important for our Canadian Zerg player to not let these Void Rays get on top of that hatchery and get an easy cancel. Oh, that Oracle dropped the stasis, but just survived. Very important to keep the queens in the right spot, because if these voids get on top of that hatch, they all activate prismatic alignment and that hatchery gets cancelled. Skarlet is going to be in serious trouble.
She's got very good creep spread already. I know we know her for a creep spread, but right now, the amount of safety that she has, where she has it, it is nice. And so far, she's respecting these Void Rays, even getting a little bit of damage on them as well. Going for that. Oh, okay, that's a better stasis trap from Zest. Never doing just one thing at a time here.
Feels like Zest was really expecting this hatchery to go up at 12 o'clock. And that's why he's been flying around with the Void Rays towards the top left side. He's been checking it. Now this Oracle is going to check this base. Like, oh my goodness, I completely missed it. The hatchery is done. It does allow the Oracle to pick up 2 drones and a larva, apparently, Ben. The tiny details.
Yeah, you giggled at that lava pick-off, didn't you? It's like, I'll get what I can. All right. Okay, lots more queens coming out for Skarlet. Aspire on the way as well. How do you feel about that one being so early?
Don't hate it.
You don't hate it? You think it's going to be used for mutas further down the line? I mean, mutas would be a crazy call, no, right?
It is crazy, but we've seen several go mutas at the, I don't want to say most random moments, but if the Protoss is not aware of it and you've got enough resources, think of the mutas that Serral made versus Trap on Berlingrad. They were also kind of in between Serral transitioning into Hive, as this Oracle did get picked off. So I don't think you go, like, you look at your spy right now and be like, I'm going to make mutas. But if Skarlet feels that it's the right moment to make mutas, because Zest has still absolutely no idea that this could be happening, and there isn't a single Phoenix on the map, yeah, then I don't think making 15 mutas is the worst call in the world, because you can actually afford it. You can justify it when you've got 1,500 gas in the bank.
And I tell you what, Kevin, killing that Oracle as well, that's all of Zest's scouting gone. So the real big, like, oh, here are 15 mutas in your main base, really could come into play, but
seems like it's more going to be just a couple of corrupted, maybe a Great Aspire, very quick Great Aspire.
I mean, it could be. This one feels like this is the first true late-gamey potential situation we've seen between these two. How do you feel about those 2 little sentries coming out? Oh, more sentries. Maybe going to go for a little pick-off over here of this hatchery?
Zest perhaps hoping that Skarlet doesn't have a single Ravager on the field, so he can drop a couple of force fields and can zone out the Queens, but we know there are a couple of Ravagers out there, and I don't think that Zest is going to get a whole lot done here. He does have extra Void Ray showing up on the left, but the Spore Crawlers, the Queens, I'd say normally this should be more than good enough for Skarlet.
Wow, I think Skarlet's holding this really damn well, actually, and yeah, Zest sticking around. I don't know what to say about this one. Like, this felt like Skarlet was more than prepared, and just she handled that really well.
I gotta say, I don't hate it. Even if it failed, I actually think it's pretty cool, because normally, why would you make Ravages in this game? If you haven't been aggressive, why would the Ravages be ready there? And if you're only morphing the Ravages by the time that the first force fields go down, you're already gonna be in trouble. So this is actually, I look at this and I'm like, all right, it completely failed, but I actually don't hate the idea behind it. Zest does have quite some money in the bank. I don't think the game is necessarily going to end, but that was obviously a victory for Skarlet. But I think an A for effort, and just unfortunately, perhaps the wrong timing for it, because Skarlet did have Ravages ready.
Yeah, she was very well prepared for that. We do see Corruptors coming out, good upgrades coming down for both of them. +2 air weapons has started along with carrier production. And behind it all, Zest's economy is pretty damn good, man. Like 82 supply. Obviously, you can buy a lot of static defense as well. Oh, has to be careful. Okay, one Infestor does reveal, the Infestors reveal themselves. That's a big deal.
No,
that's a big pick-off.
There is no +2 air weapons for a little while. I'm actually surprised Skarlet doesn't send the Roaches in, because all the Void Rays are out of position. Zest will go for a big Zealot warp, and these are going to be slow Zealots, aren't they?
They are. The Twilight Council is not even done yet. It is done now, obviously. But yeah, double Cybercore does start up for him, so he will be going maybe attack upgrades as well here, really committing to the air units, but we knew that was going to be the case anyway.
Yeah, but there's still that potential for a lot of units on the ground too, though, with that Templar Archives, all the gateways. So it's like one of these moments where Scarlet randomly builds 24 Corruptors and only has a couple Queens and Infestors on the ground. That Archons and Zealots could become terrifying too, so very important for Scarlet to keep a close eye on what Zest is actually producing. But getting that Cybercore pick off is big.
Viper's on the field as well. Scarlet maxed out now. Upgrade-wise, she's not missing a beat either, man. Like, +2 armor on the way. I know that's really damn good later on, especially with Microbial Shroud working the way it does, but yeah, big upgrades. And Zest, seeing this, it's like, oh, you're actually pretty damn prepared, and wow, that was...
Yeah, that was a bit sloppy. It felt like those Void Rays were just on an attack move, trying to kill a couple Crypt Tumors. Zest was distracted perhaps by Lings and Roaches on the left side, so a few Void Rays turned around. And he's gonna fire up the Mothership. And brace yourself, guys. I want to say buckle up, but maybe unbuckle, because it could be a long one.
I mean, absolutely could. Like, we've seen Zest in these kind of situations, if it does become like a Spore Crawler field, where that Mothership goes on a little tour of the map, and then it can get into the main and be kind of crazy. But the setup that Scarlet has for this kind of situation, I actually don't mind it for her at all. And the fact that she's being so aggressive with a creep spread as well. But it's a tough one, man. Comes down to execution, does this kind of game.
Yeah, but Scarlet does have good labor. I think that Scarlet is one of the finest Zergs out there in the foreign scene when it comes to controlling those Vipers and those Infestors. And she can be a very patient lady too, and that's obviously important, because fighting near shield batteries makes it almost impossible for parasitic bombs to be as effective as you want them to be. Maybe everything gets revealed, so your Vipers get feedback. Patience is a virtue in games like this. Careful with the Vipers, but well done. Good little combo of Parasitic Bomb and Fungal there.
Yeah, it's not splitting them up at all, and it's just sticking with the pack. But Zest doing some run-bys here.
Zest is a Chat Brothers, man. He doesn't need to split.
Actually, I loved it when Zest was being used as the example for like, oh, look, against the anti-armor missile, you can't do anything. And it was like one of those videos where he's just all plonked on one batch. But
the Infestors are a little bit exposed. One or two of them did go down. That's a lot of carriers. The carriers don't have the sickest upgrades, but it's still something you have to respect. Because this is one of these moments where Scarlet has like a little of everything, right? But since he wasn't quite sure, once he had to get ready for more, so he doesn't have that overwhelming amount of Corruptors that can just fly on top of this carrier count. We only have 2 Vipers as well. This is actually going to be a bit scary. The game is not supposed to end here.
And
but if Scarlet takes the bad fights, he's actually in trouble.
And there's no Spores, Kev. Like, normally you see a lot of Spores, so the Poros can't do exactly this. And now, there's nothing to really stop him from moving. +2 is moments away from finishing for Zest, but the fight is happening regardless whether he wants it to or not. And that surrounded Corruptors, I think Scarlet's just going to annihilate this army.
Yes, he's definitely going to take care of all the carriers. Can we take care of all the Zealots and Archons too? It does seem like that has kind of been the case. Beautiful engagement there by Scarlet. Also love how she dropped the Parasitic Bomb, immediately moved all the Corruptors on top of the carriers so that the Interceptors would be near the Parasitic Bomb. Zest is like, alright, I'm not going to fall for that, so he tried to gun down a couple of Vipers, but there were just too many Corruptors coming in from each and every single angle.
And +2 air weapons finished literally as that fight ended.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe a bit of misjudgment there from Zest.
Don't think it really would have made a difference if I look at how that fight played out. I believe in +2 air weapons, but Scarlet just had a lot of units coming in from pretty much every angle.
Yeah, and upgrade-wise, she's got 2 Spires, she's pumping out upgrades, big upgrades coming down for her ground as well. And now she can be the one on the aggression, and she's up to 6 bases, man. Like, she hasn't slowed down, she hasn't missed a beat this game. In fact, she's played really damn well.
I think Zest should have the potential to max out one more time, but we all know that it doesn't get any easier. It's going to be perhaps somewhat tricky to keep the Mothership alive, but we've got a lot of Stalkers there. Scarlet just wants that Mothership, and Scarlet gets the Mothership. That wasn't even a -400, because it didn't even get abducted then.
No, it did not, Kevin, and this army is going to come marching out now, and there isn't a lot of anti-ground here, but with the Void Rays coming out and all those Banelings, that army just tanked it right in the face.
Oh, the Archon shots! I feel like the Archon was 1 or 2 hits away there from potentially killing almost all the Corruptors. I'm not sure if that would really help with the ground fight, but it'd be very cool to see.
Yeah, like the thing is for Zest, if he doesn't have the air units in these fights, these Zealots, they're on +1. And these ground units of Scarlet, oh my goodness, 11 Broodlords. I mean, Zest is absolutely on the ropes this game. In fact, he's on life support this game.
When we're making Zealots versus Broodlords, I think we all kind of know what time it is as a Protoss, but Zest is still going to try a little bit. I don't hate the idea of trying to make it scrappy, but Skarlet has just been a bit too rich. I really think it also goes down to Skarlet taking her 4th base underneath her main, and Zest is not being ready for that at all. And I feel like he missed an opportunity for those Void Rays to be a lot more annoying than they actually ended up being.
I think you might be super right, because all his movement was at the top. Oh my goodness, when you see that, GG. I looked at Zest's face and I was ready for it. And he was like, just moved his hands over to the keyboard, both of them, and he's like, well, going to the last map of the series here. Wow, Skarlet again, putting on a damn show, man. Like, season finals, she's been shining over in the NA scene. She's been doing really well over there. Ever since joining her Team Shopify Rebellion, and the season final, she doesn't disappoint. Like, she really should have beat Innovation in that series where she was 2-0 up and then kind of fell apart a bit. But this is a player that she literally hasn't won a map against in like the last 3 or 4 series that they've played.
That's actually crazy as well, to put things in perspective. Zombie Grub mentioned it at the desk, but it's a little while ago. The last few times they played 3-0 Zest, 3-0 Zest, 2-0 Zest, 2-0 Zest. And this time, Skarlet's really pushing Zest to the limit. Taking a look at some of the highlights here of Game 4. Where this attack, it didn't work out, but I don't hate it. Because imagine if the Ravages aren't ready there, Ben, and the Void Rays actually get a phenomenal fight against only 5 or 6 queens. I think it's a cool idea.
It was a cool idea, but that was so much gas going into this army. Like, even the sentries that got warped in there, taking out the Cybercore as well.
That was a big deal.
And this fight, Kev, this was, I mean, great by Skarlet. There's a parasitic bomb there in the mix. There's fungals going down as well. I mean, this and that surround, those Archons, they can't get that juicy shot on the Corruptors because he's literally surrounded by them.
The queens all healing each other up, even dropping a couple of transfusions on roaches on the ground, I believe. There is a spine crawler there on the top side that just made sure that, yeah, we might win the fight in disguise, but are we going to be fine on the ground too? And it's just the right amount of units. Definitely not too many roaches, not too many ravages, just a perfect balance there. Well done by Skarlet.
Okay, if you're a Zest coach, what do you think he should go for in Game 5? In fact, you know the map?
Yeah, it's Blackburn. I actually do think that Zest is very good with the strategy that he just used. I actually think that's perhaps his ace play because he just does it so often. I think in general he does it very well. I just think he missed a big opportunity to deal damage by not finding where the 4th hatchery was. Because normally if he's there, let's say the Void Rays are between the main base and the 4th hatch, right? Skarlet can't have 5 queens on both sides. So that's where Zest either can get a cancel or can find some economic damage in the main base. This time he completely missed that opportunity because the Voids were just doing off, I don't know what, killing Krypton on the left side looking for a hatch at 12 o'clock, but it wasn't there.
Yeah, I almost felt like he was in better shape than he thought he was. He's like, you're really not taking this 4th, right? But no, I think definitely maybe a little bit of a misplay by him, and nice try as well, because that kind of play with the sentries and the Void Rays on the right, if it was a slightly different situation, we could be calling Zest a true genius, you know, if it worked out, because it really could. And you can see that he's super cutthroat when he goes for it. But last map of the match between these two. Spawning over in the bottom right of Blackburn, it is Skarlet.
And that of course means that in the bottom left side we're looking at the main base of the Korean Protoss, representing Dragon, Phoenix, Gaming, it's Zest.
Blackburn is where it all ends for one of these players. And this is a map that's been around for a little bit of time now. Who do you tend to favor this one for? Or do you think it's just a good late game map?
It is definitely a very good late game map. It's a good split map scenario. And I actually think that if I'm Skarlet, I wouldn't want to risk it on a Queen Walk or a Roach Walk. Like, there is a chance that you find some success with that, but Skarlet just displayed to all of us that her late game is excellent. Some of those fights that could have been close, they really weren't that close. She's willing to make those Infestors and Vipers and get all the upgrades going. And nobody really looks at Zest and is like, he's the absolute god tier patient Protoss late game. Like, he will feed back every Viper left, right, and center. Like, no. Zest is intimidating in the early mid-game, the mid-game, and the early late game as well once you max out once or twice. But not in those, let's split the map 20+ Spore Crawler scenarios. So I actually think Skarlet shouldn't do anything. And I think the ball's really kind of in Zest's corner to make something happen and to get himself far enough ahead that he can close it out.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. It's just Skarlet, if she... the games have been so funny, right? Like, because that game was obviously pretty close and could have maybe went either way depending on like a few different decisions here and there. But as a Protoss, I'm kind of wondering, what can he do against Skarlet? Because so far, when he gets a little bit of a lead early on, it can kind of go a bit bad for Skarlet. But when she doesn't take damage, she gets to do whatever she wants. She's been holding on against these kind of funky timing attacks really damn well.
Let's see what Game 5 has in store for us. Ben, today, 2 best of 5s for us, both of them going to the rubber match.
Yeah.
Can't complain.
I can't complain. In fact, this top 8 in general, like I was looking at it, and I was like, holy crap. And we talked about it outside as well. We were like, oh, this could have been Cure instead of Skarlet from that Group A, but I'm not even sad about it being the way it is, because Skarlet's just showcased. I mean, she beat Trap and Cure to get out of that group.
Yeah, so he didn't only beat once, he beat both.
Yeah, she's here 2-2 against Zest, a player that she literally has not taken a map off in like the last 15 times they've played. And, you know, all you NA fans out there, all you Skarlet fans out there, you got to be absolutely proud of Skarlet and what she's bringing to this tournament season out.
Yep, no matter what happens in this final game, I think Skarlet can already be very proud of herself too. This is kind of the stuff, obviously, that we look for with all the region qualifiers that lead into the season finals. Unfortunately, it feels like Europe and Korea are just further, you know, in general when it comes to the amount of top-tier players than the other regions. But NA is fighting back, and we love to see it.
Yeah, you can never sleep on her at this point. Like, you really cannot. Will be a very similar opening for Zest thus far, going for the Void Rays, not on a forward exposed Stargate. Hidden in the back, so Skarlet doesn't quite know what's up just yet, but everything going very, very orthodox on either side.
It's going to be Void Ray into Oracle. Of course, this final game is played on the American server. For the people that joined in later, the server order was Korea, America, Korea, and the final 2 games are on America. Because obviously, Skarlet, her advantage to US West is a lot smaller, or yeah, it's a lot smaller than Zest's advantage when they play on the Korean server, and that's why it's treated to distributed like this. But of course, Skarlet does have the ping advantage when we play on US West.
I do like this little bit of positioning he always has on the Adept, you know, just getting into that little mineral nook over there. Makes it very hard for Lings to actually take out that Adept, meaning he gets a very, very safe third base up. Third base starts, +1 air weapons and the double gas.
It's actually not super common for Protoss players to take the third as a triangle. Normally, they just take the base above their natural. As this Void Ray flies into the main base, kills the Overlord, also keeps the Queens busy. And that allows this first Oracle of Zest to be pretty damn successful. Does take a lot of damage in the natural, but I actually wonder if Zest has something very weird up his sleeves here in Game 5, because it's not that common for the Protoss to take the triangle base.
You know what I think this is, Kev? I think it's because he's so good at holding these Queen walks usually, that
he's baiting them out?
I think he kind of baits them out in weird ways, because yeah, you're totally right. This is a weird third to take. But I think really because if you think about this position in here, getting through those slow zones, there's only one way to really go about that Queen walk.
A lot of surface area as well to build cannons and batteries, I guess. It's very wide open. You can build them for days all the way back into your natural. Now, this time Skarlet is going to take her 4th base at a pretty logical location when it comes to Blackburn. It's going to be the gold. Zest is going to try to drop a Stasis trap. Skarlet is all over it. Only a single Zergling, perfectly dealt with there by Skarlet. It's really going to be about them Void Rays and the gold. I don't think they're going to get a cancel, but what they can, of course, do is harass it non-stop over and over again.
Yeah, definitely. I was just thinking about the maps that he's chosen to do this Oracle stuff on. And it has been the maps where you can get an Oracle behind multiple bases, not just one. Because on Hardwire, I don't think you can do it, right? And he didn't go for it. He obviously went for the DT shenanigans and stuff like that. But yeah, if there's one guy that's really good at this kind of playstyle, I do think it's Zest. And so far, he hasn't had anything to worry about. 3rd Stargate starts up along with the Fleet Beacon as well. Oh, we're in for a cracker here, I think.
Zest had a pretty banging start economically. Skarlet is catching up at this point, though. And the moment that gold goes up and running, there's obviously a lot of potential. It's going to be a lot harder, I think, to kill the Simon and X core on this map, so that's not something you can really rely on. I don't think it was a game-deciding moment in 2K atmosphere, but it absolutely made Skarlet feel very good about willing to embrace, you know, the slightly later game, knowing that the Protoss is not that far ahead in upgrades. This is that first moment where killing that one Crypto, by the way, would be a pretty big deal.
Yeah, definitely for Vision as well.
Yeah.
And these Queens are well positioned here. There isn't a Spore Crawler, but right now, not needed. Every corner you can cut for a moment in time. One Spore Crawler means one less drone, but 8 Overlords starting up here, Kevin. It is still a lot of Queens, and the pull, tiny bit late, but not the worst thing in the world.
First carrier's already on the way, though. Skarlet now at 73 drones. Quite a bit of gas. Wouldn't hate seeing a Spire or an Infestation Pit fire up that hive. So I highly doubt that we're just going to stay on Queens and Ravages forever. So there is that Spire. It's going to be built with one of the drones that was affected by Revelation. So Zest is aware of it immediately. actually kind of lovely for him, knowing the timing exactly.
Absolutely. Doesn't really have much to worry about. And Scarlet gets a pretty decent scout on these Stargates as well, knowing that carriers are already in production.
It's a big deal.
So many queens, by the way. Like
this Overlord has been in the top left for minutes, and then eventually became an Overseer. You can really see how important that follow-up scout is.
Yeah, they're both just trying to keep tabs of exactly what's going on each side of the map. Robo is halfway done for Zest. Do you think that's mainly for observers at this point, or do you think he's thinking about the Warp Prism Disruptor kind of stuff?
Yeah, it could be for a little bit of everything, right? Looking at the amount of gateways that are finishing up, I think Observer, Prism, Disruptors I don't find super likely, but we'll see maybe way down the line. I do think it would have been so nice for Zest to have one Void Ray near the gold a bit early. That's a lot of Ravagers. The Scarlet is going to send everything that he has at this point towards the other side of the map, but carriers are already outbound. I know Queens are good, Transfuses are good, but I don't know. It's 14 Queens out on the map, 15 Queen just spawned somewhere, but obviously not all of them are here. This is a pretty big Zerg army. That Observer, you want to send that Observer back because there's an Overseer in the mix as well. Zest losing that immediately does suck. He's going to attack his own Nexus to get the Interceptors out.
Oh, I love that, Kevin. I really do. I mean, these Interceptors won't last for too long against these Queens, but all the Ravagers, they can't actually land bios. They're blocked by the Queens. Great positioning by Zest, but this is not over by any means. Scarlet's army's damn scary.
Yep, well, we do have a couple of cannons here. We could have a battery overcharge too. I wouldn't hate battery overcharge right about now. Zest, that's where he goes for it. A lot of the Ravagers are going to go down. That means it's going to be very hard for Scarlet to take this battery out. I think Scarlet will get it with that set of corrosive balls. One of the carrier is very low on HP, but carriers don't really die. I think Scarlet will get damage here, but I don't ever see the game ending.
I think he needs to get his carriers out of there. They're useless right now. They're just going to be sending one Interceptor at a time, just really dying. And Zest, he's actually making way more Void Rays with this. How do you feel about that?
I don't think it's too bad, because that can obviously snowball as well. Once you've cleaned this up, Flux Veins is done, +2 air weapons is done. How many games have we seen where suddenly the Protoss does clean everything up, sends everything to the other side of the map, just straight up wins, because these Queens are going to have a hard time making it home. Zest does need extra Binary Zone, he needs them now.
Oh, he definitely does, Super supply block is Zest. He's trying to micro in and out of these bios as much as he can. And these Queens, they're on a bit of a clock here, because when that Void Ray count gets high enough, they'll start getting absolutely splattered, but Scarlet's handling this really well.
Yep, Scarlet is definitely doing a great job, but this game's still not over. Zest has a lot of potential, has a bit of money in the bank too. Needs to make up his mind. Battery Overcharge should be ready. I would have liked to see him just activate it, because a lot of his Void Rays are low on HP. Zest is going to send everything forward. He is convinced that he can win this fight. He needs to move the carriers. Loses one carrier to Corrosive Ball. And I think Zest will clean it up, but geez Louise, if he loses 25 more probes, it may not be good enough.
I don't think he's even going to clean this up, Kev. Those Queens standing pretty strong. Just a few Void Rays left in the third, the fourth. They're both dead. Look at Scarlet's supply. She's getting high behind this. She's on 72 drones, getting lots of Corruptors as well. I mean, oh my goodness as well. That's half the firepower gone. A few more Void Rays do show up, but Zest is battered and bruised.
Yeah, a lot of minerals in the bank, but nothing you can really do with it without any gas. And now all that it really comes down to is a couple of Void Rays. I would have loved to see Zest activate that battery overcharge a bit earlier. Even if it would have gone down to those Ravagers, at least it would have healed the entire army up. Some of these carriers had no shields whatsoever, and it would have just allowed them to stay alive a bit quicker. And I love the call you made earlier, Ben. At one point, just grab those 3 carriers, send them into your natural for 25 seconds, only micro the Void Rays, makes your life easier anyway, and then you come back when you unleash 24 Interceptors at once. I do think that would have gone a lot better for Zest.
Okay, Zest doing a bit of a play here, trying to get up his gold base while taking out the gold base. Using Prismatic Alignment already, by the way.
Yeah, I don't like that. Not on all of them, because Scarlet's obviously not going to engage all these Void Rays, but Zest is going to recall. Killing a gold is nice, Zest, but that's not going to bring you back into it, especially not if you don't cancel your own gold. That's 400 minerals down the drain. Scarlet getting another big pick off there. And I really feel that the only thing that Scarlet really needs to do here is get a couple Vipers, get some Parasitic Bombs, maybe a Fungal, and then these Corruptors should have the time of their life going up against all them Void Rays.
Oh, look at this. She's taken out every Nexus that belongs to Zest here, and that's how many Corruptors are on the field right now. That is so many. 30 against 11 Void Rays. She can take this fight, Kev. She's taken out third base as well. Scarlet's doing it, man.
The last Protoss in the tournament will be eliminated here, as Scarlet just has way too many Corruptors for Zest to deal with. All that's left is a couple of Void Rays. That is not going to do it, and Scarlet will be our first Zerg making it into the semi-finals.